All right, welcome back to our channel today. We're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're in our Winter Park store. If you go back a year ago, we did a video on this tank right here. We called it Leah's 20. And we've been in the store a couple of times recently and it just is calling to us. I really think it's worth an update. Man, I mean, you can just look at this tank and see how healthy everything really is. And we're gonna give you a sneak peek. There's a new tank up on the counter that I think is worth showcasing as well. I guess we can get into the meat and potatoes. There's not a lot to cover. It's a 20-gallon tank. However, the last time we did this video, it looked entirely different. And I actually went back through and I watched the video recently and we talked about a whole bunch of different stuff. But in the comments, it was like, this is impractical. You can't do this in a 20-gallon tank. Not every person can achieve this kind of thing, or it's unrealistic. I think that's completely false. And this is a perfect example. So Leah right now is responsible for the livelihood of pretty much all the animals in our Winter Park store, which is a pretty big stretch. She's here for 40 hours a week. And if she can maintain a 500-gallon tank, a 20-gallon tank, a 10-gallon tank on the counter, both of our raceway systems, 90-gallon tank in the front, and 180-gallon acro tank, I'm pretty sure most people can do this. It's even more impressive now than it was before because there's acros in it, which to me is a pretty big upgrade. Before it was all LPS, zoanthids, and sauce. I mean, if you look, I actually took a minute and I counted with Leah. We counted right around 65 different corals in this tank. That's impressive. The only thing that she does in this tank is she doses 10 mils of alkalinity every single day. She tests every single week, and she does a water change every single week. There is nothing about this that is anything different from what you guys can do at home. And I think that's kind of the message here. We can talk a little bit about the equipment really quick. She runs an MP10. The setting is 70% on Reef Crest. This is a Gen 5 blue, and it's crazy. This tank runs 15% white for 2 hours. For the remainder of the day, which is a 12-hour photo period, it's blue for the rest of the day. Literally royal blue, UV, blue, and violet. Those four colors are 12 hours at 70%. Pretty nuts. Now she's got acros. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different acros, 14. And the tank runs blue all day long. So pretty wicked if you ask me. For fish, we've got a Banggai cardinal, a Randall's goby, a diamond goby. We've got this, what looks to be a really cool percula type clown, a pair of chalk bass, and no algae eaters. I mean, I'm completely blown away. If you go back and you watch the first video, which I think has got like 97,000 views, and you come here and you look at this one, the tank looks entirely different in a completely different form with the same type of maintenance, but it's stony corals. Something to note around this back corner, we'll get really up close. I mean, if you look up at this trachea, there's so many different color varieties in the body of it. It's unreal. And seriously, water change once a week, 5 gallons, 10 mils of elk every single day, testing once a week, and literally that's it. Again, going back to the people who were talking about this tank in the comments last time, why is that unattainable? Super cool. A lot of people like that. Star polyps on the back wall. Acros at the top, really good flow. The tank is properly put together. You can see that the water moves through the tank really nice and clean because the rocks aren't a big rock pile. She placed the corals appropriately so that she can get 65 different corals in here. Corals that go together are next to each other. That's the best trachea I've seen in a long time. We did recently add a hydros controller on here, but that's just for redundancy purposes. You know, it's monitoring temperature. And then they utilize it to turn the devices on and off. Nothing in the back compartment, no media or anything like that. It's really super basic, but extremely good execution. So some of the most notable corals in here, we've got a WD, we've got home wrecker, we've got acid trip, we've got Oregon torque, GMKs, AOIs. Wow, there's a lot. Branching Cephastria. There's a lot of corals in here. These clove polyps look incredible. There's Kung Pao Monty, the Japanese toadstool. I would be perfectly happy if this tank was in my house. And seriously, just to kind of reiterate the same thing over and over again, there's not much that goes into this tank. It's really simple.
So Josh, you shot the whole tank right now. Looks beautiful. I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
What would you say is causing this tank to be so well balanced, to be able to, this is a true mixed reef in a 20-gallon tank with no animals picking, like no workers per se, especially like tanks, keeping the algae away. I mean, obviously I don't even see many snails. I see a few here.
Yeah, I think there's a couple in this area, and Seraph, and that's about it.
What would you attribute that to?
Well, if I was going to look at it from the perspective of algae, I do see a little bit of algae, but it's minimal. So I would guess that because there's no settling places for things to fall, and it's actually being suspended into the water column, I think that there's no real buildup of algae. Plus, there's more coral than there's rock, which that accounts for something.
Of course.
But also, too, she tests the water pretty frequently, and she's diligent about it. So she knows that that 0.1 that the phosphates sit at right now is where it's happy. You said it right from the beginning. It's balanced. It's got the right amount of fish. It gets fed the right amount. It gets the right amount of water changes. It's got the right amount of flow, and it's got the right amount of white light, so we don't grow algae.
I guess is the word keeping it balanced, like where all the right numbers are in place. You're not overfeeding. You're not overlighting the tank. You're not.
That's what happens every time. If you've got one of the parameters that's out of whack, if the light's too high, you're going to grow algae, even if it's balanced.
Yeah.
If you overfeed too much and the lights aren't too bright, you're going to get algae because it's unbalanced.
That's true. For people watching at home, if they're planning to set up a tank, this is one of the best nanos I've ever seen, right? Seriously, it's just so well mixed. The color the Acroporas are holding. I mean, it's got everything under the roof. What would you say is the biggest challenge for most people when they start a tank, especially running a nano tank? I would consider anything under a 20-gallon a nano.
The hardest thing, I would say, is doing everything proportionate to the size of the tank.
What do you mean by that?
Let's say in the past they had success with a 100-gallon tank. They get busy with life, they have kids, and they want to downsize to a 20. Well, you can't have the same amount of fish in that tank. You can't feed it the same amount. You can't expect that dosing 50 mils of elk is the same as this for 10 mils of elk.
Yeah.
So everything has to be proportionately lower. So I think finding the balance, finding out what the tank really needs.
So a lot of people say a smaller tank is harder than a bigger tank. Sometimes I will agree, but sometimes I will disagree. I think the biggest challenge with a smaller tank is just making sure you don't get swings.
Yeah.
Well, I say that is the biggest challenge.
It is.
Because I think
it's more easily influenced.
Yeah, there you go. But I feel like it's easier to keep because you can almost get away with cheating a little bit by changing half of the water once a week.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, well, look what she said. She said it gets a 5-gallon water change. I know this is advertised as a 20-gallon tank.
Yeah, we know. So look, 12 gallons of water.
2 5-gallon jugs side by side.
I know. I agree. 12. That's why I said 12 pushing it.
Yeah.
And with as much sand as she's got here on the bottom, the amount of rock, even that thickness of the star polish, everything takes volume away from the water. If this tank
held 15 gallons, I'd be surprised. So if she does a 5-gallon water change once a week, it's damn near half the tank or more.
One thing worth mentioning, when you see something this beautiful, this well manicured, this healthy, doesn't it make you want to set up a little nano tank?
It does.
It does, right?
It's kind of beating me up thinking that I've got that 125 going out at the shop.
I know.
Meanwhile, this is looking incredible, and she spends a little bit of time on it.
But it's good. It's a little bit of motivation for all of us. And like we were mentioning earlier in the video, you're going through some stuff, like it's super busy at the shop. We're behind on a couple projects. We're trying to meet some goals before the end of the year, trying to get ready for the beginning of next year. And next you know, you turn around, it's been 3 months of kind of like, we haven't been paying as much attention to the tank. And you turn around and like, wow, it went from looking at a 9, now it's looking at a 5. Yeah. And it's depressing. So, but this is actually encouraging to see this and come back and just go do something new in our tanks, right?
Not only that, but it's a true testament. Leah put us in the time and effort, and it's good that I'm envious of that.
That's good.
She's doing a good job.
Good job.
You know what we're gonna do?
What?
We're gonna go take a sneak peek of the little 10-gallon on the counter too.
You're gonna do it together with this video?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think so. So this is our 10-gallon at the front counter. I told you we'd get a little sneak peek here. This tank, we set this up about 8 or 9 months ago now. Leah built the rock structure, and she had it curing in the sump of the 90 for the longest time. And I just thought, you know, maybe it didn't deserve its own video, but we could definitely tag it on for the 20-gallon. I mean, what more can you say? Look at this thing. I don't think we've ever had acans stretch out like that. It's perfect. The only thing in this tank is acans, zoanthids, leathers, candy canes, mushrooms, and one little geometric pygmy hawkfish. I think it's awesome. It's got an AI prime. She runs pretty much the same lighting schedule as the 20, where it's primarily blue for 12 hours and then just like a 2-hour window of white light. Same 10-15% of white light. An MP10 turned all the way down, the stock return pump that comes with the tank. And again, I mean, what more can you say? The sand is perfectly white. Obviously, whatever we're doing in terms of water change, which I think is about 2.5 gallons of water weekly, is just right. No dose, no nothing. Literally. So going back to the same point that I was making about the 20-gallon tank, if all you got to do is test your water, stay on a religious water change schedule, and then make sure that the corals are doing good where you put them, and that's the outcome, then this is attainable for literally everybody. Like I said, little sneak peek. I thought it was worth a little cameo shot. Don't forget, if you like videos like this, like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the little notification bell so you know when we post a video. Again, every time I do a video like this, I like to comment, so I go back through and read them. If it's not me, it's our customer service team that makes sure that we get the questions answered. And I would love to do videos based on what you guys like. So don't forget to comment, and we'll see you on the next one.